Hello and welcome to PreciseAlgorithmTrading.com. It's Wednesday, February 28th, 2024, and let's dive in here and look at our market data from today. So today in the automated trading systems, this is the Dow futures. Um, a little bit of whatever that is there. I won't call it. It's not much, but let's look here. 228. These are the trades for today. So hopefully we're making a turn here. This is the Russell 2000, and we're still pulling back. Today's trades 228. We just got the one, just like yesterday. A little stop loss, uh, and then the Nasdaq still on this pullback. Had a little kick up yesterday. Of course, we had one the other day that felt like things were going to start picking back up again, and we still really haven't. So today's trades, three losers. So we need to look at volatility. We haven't done that in a couple days. So I'm going to start there, or let's pop over to the manual trading systems. This is the S&P 500, daily on the left, hourly on the right. But let's look at the VIX, and this is the S&P 500 on the right, and it's a daily chart with the VIX. And you can see here the Bollinger Bands, the um, the pink lines were really squeezed in together. They're starting to come apart. We had this big pop here the other day. What's that been? A week and a half ago, and we've pulled back in. Not, we had one kind of echo afterwards and pulled back in. Now we're starting to come up a little bit. Uh, we'll just continue to monitor this, but if this gets up and going, I'm expecting, like we have seen in the past, something like this at least. So let's look at that just for the sake. Here you go. So when this comes up on the left, that's the VIX, the volatility index. So you have this rise and then a pullback, that rise and a pullback, and that rise and a pullback. We got this first rise actually didn't amount to much. It was the end of this push higher, and then we had this pullback, and then we had this rise down into here, and then we got the bigger push into here, which was this final part down here, before we had this giant rally that we've had recently. So we'll just continue to watch that, but that's something that we need to be aware of. Doesn't really change much because we're trading individual stocks and individual signals, but um, what we're experiencing here is, because we're trying to be basically, most of our signals, well, the ones I talk about are bullish. We're trading while the market's, a lot of this is bullish, but it's not like it was back here where it was exuberant and bullish and just like moving crazy every day. This thing's been back and forth and a lot. The bullish percent indexes have actually been more on columns of O's, even though they're not falling that hard. So this whole pattern with that bullish percent indexes, basically telling us that there's bearishness under the hood while the markets are going higher, is like this. It's not the easiest market to trade. So if, like back here, the bullish percent indexes, and I have to go back and look, but I almost guarantee that at some point here we got to flip from a column of O's to a column of X's, and then this thing really took off. In fact, that's what we're looking for, is when everything rolls over at the top here, it's going to be time to go short. And sometimes that's messier. Finding the bottom is easier with the bullish percent indexes and using the charts the way we do. Um, Finding the top it is harder. So especially since the stock market is geared towards a lot more buying because institutions have to be in, 401ks have to be in, IRAs have to be in the market. It's not like they park those things in cash like we can. I mean, institutions have to stay invested. So what do? They rotate from one sector to another. They rotate from uh, durable goods to energy or finance, and it's obviously not all one thing. It's just how the rotation works. So, sorry to belabor the point, but I kind of wanted to drive it home a little bit. The S&P 500 today was down 8 points, or 0.17%, and we're we're kind of hanging on up here. We're certainly still. I'm going to push that out a little bit. We're still in higher highs and higher lows. And we're technically, if you draw this line or just lay that line in there like that, this zone, I'm going to actually go ahead and draw it on the hourly chart. That's a zone. And you can see that it became resistance, came down, stayed resistance, came down, came up and broke. Old resistance became new support, and now we're sitting on it. So the question is going to be, we're going to go higher from here, or we're going to continue to grind higher from here. And as of right now, there's not a lot of reason to say we are not. This gap right here, those tend to eventually get filled. So it also wouldn't surprise me if we come down and fill in that gap. If we do that, we're still in higher highs and higher lows unless we come up and put in a lower high, or if this is already the lower high. At some point, this thing is going to roll over and we're going to change polarity. But we haven't yet. All right, the Russell today went down 15.8 points. We're still inside of two triangle patterns. We broke through the first one and have pulled back now. And now it looks like we're still hanging on for tomorrow's trading action is just right there. That's that little candle that started already. What I need is a catalyst to get the market going, or I should say, if you're a bull, that's what you need. And I am still a bull for the most part. If this thing, like I say, I'm looking for all the signals to roll over sort of together, or at least confirm each other together, before I become a bear. So the Russell 2000 still looks pretty bullish to me, and it's in a still generally coiling pattern. The Dow 38,949 is where it landed, minus 23 points. The futures made it to 39,343. Still kind of expecting. Let's look at the actual Dow. Dow 40,000, I think, is, I hate to say it's a lock, because look here, this is the gap I was talking about, and the Dow actually already pretty much came back and filled it. Not 100%, and a lot of times they don't fill 100%, but it comes down, and that's close enough for me. So the NASDAQ today went down 87.5 points. So it looks like we're across the board a little bit down. I'm looking for, could this be a double top? Sure, it could. And, double tops can be bearish patterns, but again, we're still higher highs and higher lows until this thing proves me otherwise. And the transports, they're just still pretty much coiling up sideways. And oil today went down 0.31% on the USO. We need to see this area get broken to the upside. Now, look at this on the hourly chart. We technically broke that, and there were candles above that level, so we spent, it's not just a shot up there and a pullback. We actually spent some time above, so I'm gonna say that's our first signal that this thing is gonna break higher. Although I don't know if we took out that high. That's that 79.62 and 79.29. So we took out that high. So we'll see if that thing plays out like that, but that's what my expectation from this point. We're going to break higher. That's oil. Let's look at gold. Just walking sideways. Very much. Just really marking time sideways. Gold on the exchange traded fund is pretty much the same thing. All right. That is where we're at for the overall markets. And let's flip over to the stockcharts.com and look at the bullish percent indexes. The industrials flipped over to a new column of X's today. So, wow, that's a lot of chop. Pretty bullish. The NYA up 1.13%. The transports didn't move. The NASDAQ down 0.05%. The S&P 500 up 2.09%. The where was I? The transports NASDAQ minus 0.05. The S&P 500 up 2.09. The S&P 100 flipped over to a new column of X's. This is a big deal. That is really bullish. The NASDAQ 100 minus 1.52%. So, yeah, that supports higher prices going at least in the short term. So, unless we get some kind of a shock to the downside, back to the S&P 500, I think we're continuing to go higher. Not in a straight line. We could even get a pullback in the morning, but that's going to be I think a head fake if it happens, and then we should continue to see higher prices and possibly see that Dow 40,000. So until next time, we'll just keep watching. Take care, guys. Have a great night.